All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Know Who Drives Return from Boardroom Alpha. I'm David Drapkin together with Joanna Macris. And today we're super excited to have on Thomas Ingenlath, who's the CEO of Polestar. Lots of buzz around Polestar. They're set to go public via SPAC transaction with Gores Gugghenheim. And as it stands today, actually one of the rare SPACs that's trading at a premium. So, congrats on that so far. And so, hey, Thomas, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Hi, David. Hi, Joanna. Thanks. Nice to meet you. And looking forward to talk about our company.
Great. And I guess just to kick things off, because I know my Twitter followers are clamoring to know, to the extent there are any updates on how the SPAC transaction is progressing and how things are going on that front, maybe a sense of timing that we see here, or no updates to share quite yet.
No updates to share. The process is going according to what the schedule is, and I think everybody is aware certain steps are just simply waiting for the questions, the papers going backwards and forward, the SEC going through through all the necessary work that has to be done. And we are very keen, of course, in proceeding, but as so often in life, a certain amount of patience is required.
Especially when we're talking about the SEC, so can relate.
So can we dive a little bit into Polestar's target market? A lot of EV competitors are targeting very specific niche markets, high-end luxury, SUVs. Polestar, in contrast, is coming to market with a range of designs at a pretty wide range of price points. But talk to us about where you see the sweet spot in the EV market and where you specifically see Polestar's largest target addressable market.
Well, clearly Polestar is bringing out a product portfolio that is around the electric premium segment. We are a brand that has cars that, of course, are high performing electric cars. And our specific focus is design and sustainability. So this is obviously a mix of cars that is not just centered around the SUV. It's the opposite. We came out with the Polestar 2, which in a way, as a format of car, is still the only car that is an electric comparable car to the Tesla Model 3, just from size and attitude of a fastback saloon. But of course, we will have a mixture of two SUVs to come. We will have our great Polestar 5 as a big, luxurious sports fastback in our portfolio. And we, on one hand, of course, deliver by that into segments which are fast growing in the electric market. We are definitely joining that premium segment, which again is the first one to kind of really gain momentum now. But it's all not about the marketing coup where we thought, okay, these are the segments that are growing. It was as well where we felt the ambition that we have as a design-driven performance brand. These are the products that we felt are really, really necessary to fulfill that brand promise.
Makes sense. You talked about your sustainability message, which is very unique in the market. And I wanted you to expand on that a bit more and tell us more about what the company is doing from an operational perspective to support its stated goal of being climate neutral by 2040.
Yeah, this process of getting to climate neutrality is, of course, it builds on a couple of steps. We started with recognizing where we are, the transparency about what CO2 footprint do the cars we produce today bring when they arrive at the customer to the table, and how can we, from that very clear, transparent analysis, go year by year down in CO2 footprint, and finally make it at all possible that we reach a zero CO2 goal, which we defined with 2030, the first car that has that footprint. And this started with the transparency. This involves now working very, very strong in collaboration with suppliers, who obviously bring the materials and a certain CO2 burden in as well, and thus developing the technologies, the factories, and really the know-how of getting to that CO2 neutral car, leaving the factory gate with a CO2 zero footprint. This comes all before the customer comes into the picture, because of course the customer using the car, she has to understand that green energy is what should drive your electric car in order to really make that environmental sustainable promise reality with an electric car. And then the final step is, of course, bringing it back when it comes to the end of the life cycle, and really taking care that we have solutions, not only, which is focused now a lot about the battery. I mean, of course, whatever great materials in the battery has to be reused again, but it goes a lot as well into the materials like the aluminum, steel, and of course the plastics in the car. If we don't take care of the recycling thought already in the beginning, in the construction of the car, we will never ever make that work in the end. So this full life cycle is really what we try to establish right from the moment when we start designing the cars.
Yeah. Partnerships are very important to Polestar's strategy, and I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about Polestar's relationship with its parent company, Volvo, particularly as Volvo goes all electric. How does Polestar expect to compete with or synergize with Volvo? You know, for better or worse, Polestar is often viewed as a luxury version of Volvo. So how does that relationship unfold?
Well, the idea of building a Polestar brand in that type of relation to an established OEM as Volvo, of course, is a bit the secret recipe, which we felt makes it a successful enterprise Polestar, because what we have to develop is not the original platform, the SUV that we are using. We can leverage on that technology that is existing in the house Volvo. We can share developments like autonomous drive capabilities. We can share a lot of the sourcing power that there is in the group. And of course, production facilities, production knowledge, all the history that you have in a positive sense collected in terms of how to launch a car, how to bring a car with high quality assurance into the market. All of that we can leverage by building on these capabilities of the group. So we can concentrate all our creativity, our capital in investing into what makes our product different to a Volvo, different to competitor cars, and really make that a very, very meaningful investment. So this, of course, is not only the sustainability aspect, it's as well when it comes to us working together with Google on great connectivity, us working on the aspect of software that drives our cars for efficiency and for performance, us really making sure that the experience of a Polestar is in physical, in digital way, that unique brand promise. So that's where our money and our brain goes into.
Right. Now, you touched on manufacturing, and I do want to expand on that more. Most of your pure play EV competitors are just entering commercial production. Polestar shipped 29,000 cars last year, has an aggressive roadmap to 65, next. A lot of that has to do with leveraging your partner's manufacturing facilities. So tell us a little bit more about your manufacturing strategy, how it's unique, and the advantages it offers.
Well, I guess more and more people recognize and realize that Polestar is a real company with production, 29,000 cars last year delivered. We have 3 cars in development, and they are very much on schedule and coming in 23, 24, and 25. And we have obviously that credibility, not only because we are leveraging all the potential of the group, but as well because we are active delivering cars in over 12 countries by now, 12 markets. We have very clear roadmap of getting into 30 markets in 22, 23. Service points, 800 service points by the end of 22 available to our customers. All these are, of course, very, very valid credibility points that make Polestar, that much different to the standard startup.
Right. And so segueing that into what's going on in the market in terms of valuations, just doing back of the envelope math, Polestar is implicitly trading at a valuation of $26 billion. That's just under 4 times forward projected sales. The comps are trading at vastly higher multiples, 10 times or so in the case of Lucid. What's the market missing here? As you say, you're a company that generated $1.6 billion in sales. The numbers are the numbers. So, what's your view there?
Yeah. Okay. I'm very happy how Polestar is in these days actually performing, not being now listed on our own, but as a GGPI, how this is doing at the moment. And I think that there's some recognition in there of the credibility of Polestar. On the other hand, we are not here in for a short, quick win. It's definitely the long-term perspective and the value that we want to create over in a long-term perspective. So I'm not too worried about comparisons now that might now capture the glimpse of the day. I think there we should talk in a couple of years and where Polestar will be then.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Talk to us a little bit about the relationship between Polestar and Geely. How are the company's interests aligned, particularly as it appears that Geely is looking for ways to expand in electric vehicles outside of China?
Well, it's clear that the Geely group, the Volvo group, is and will be an even bigger player in the future. And this portfolio of brands that are collected in these two groups, of course, complement each other, have different purposes. And our task, my task with Polestar is, of course, to really be very sharp and clear in what brand proposition we bring to the customer. We have our external competitors defined. As an electric performance brand, I think the premiumness and luxurious portfolio that we will be offering very much gives us that unique position within the group, being able to compete with the upper segment of Tesla and brands like Porsche. So this is the target for our brand, and I'm with full passion in fulfilling that brand promise.
Yeah. Well, investors are excited about a number of new cars, but let's talk about the Polestar 3 first, which is your luxury SUV. Polestar would be getting a jump both on Tesla with the Cybertruck and clearly getting a jump on Lucid Gravity, which are pushed out to next year. So talk to us about how you did it and what your thoughts are or any updates on timing.
Well, Polestar 3 is obviously a very important product for us. It's a car that will definitely be manifesting the uniqueness of our design. It has the new electric SPA2 technology inside, which will enable us to, over time, go into the offer of autonomous drive, starting with the highway piloting in unsupervised manner, not right from SOP, but of course this will come within the life cycle of the car. The Luminar technology with LiDAR is on board. The computing power is all in that platform. So that innovation step will be very, very important. We will go and launch the car in the course of this year. And of course, this has prototypes, crash tests, all, and that is up and running. And yeah, I will not jump not too far, because the presentation of this car, of course, should still have a couple of surprises.
Awesome. Wanted to get your take on where you are with respect to autonomous driving. And then I'm just thinking a little bit about the Polestar 5, which at least in the initial designs doesn't appear to have a rear window and will rely on cameras. So just, why you made that design choice and, your take on LiDAR relative to cameras. Clearly Tesla has a different message there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the question is not what is the least technology that you can use in order to reach a certain level of autonomous drive. I think the opposite question is much more relevant. How much can you gain in terms of information and visibility of what's happening around you, and take as much as you can, because obviously this is not only enabling autonomous drive, it's actually making the drive as well safer, because all that information that the car can collect beyond the two eyes of the driver will enable the car to do meaningful and wise decisions in terms of protecting and saving the lives of the people inside the car, but as well outside the car. So for us, it's not just a question of, what is it, the simplest way to a certain autonomous level. It's really about the greatness of what the modern technology can enable in terms of making our cars that much more intelligent and safe. And indeed, the LiDAR technology is just an incredible enabler of that next big jump when it comes to safety. This is what SPA2 technology will bring into the car, and not only Polestar 3, but as well Polestar 5 indeed will be using it. The Polestar 5 has that one quite design-wise funky element of making, the idea of rear windows, and every journalist writing and customers rightfully complaining that the visibility through that rear window and the inner mirrors, actually, of course, the more aerodynamic the cars go, the more limited that view is. So we thought as well, why not just simply use modern technology, put the camera there and project a nice, clear, transparent image of a real great rear view into the inner mirror. So that is a technology we will be using for Polestar 5. And I'm sure it will, on one hand, give real great customer satisfactions when it comes to visibility. and of course our designers. We just created that really amazing futuristic look when you see the Polestar 5 from the back.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, beautiful car. You know, where can you go from a design perspective from there? I mean, where do you see? I mean, is that kind of the height of where you see Polestar's, you know, design aesthetic, or you know, how do you view that going forward?
Well, avant-garde, really pushing with each and every technology step our design to that extreme and delivering on really fresh and exciting new perspectives of car design. That's our program. And oh my God, of course, the Polestar 5 will be that step in time. And I'm really looking forward to push the envelope with each and every car coming out further and further. It's connected to Scandinavian purity. Yes, that is our luxury expression. It's a very European point of view. We are a European car brand. And I think that is a culture and a design language that is very much understood in the premium segment throughout the world.
I have a question, if I could jump in, because I'm just curious about, you know, back to the transaction a little bit. I know, you know, we spoke that you're a real company. You delivered, you know, 29,000 vehicles last year. Just curious, given, you know, where the SPAC market has evolved, you know, did you consider, you know, other capital markets transactions, maybe a traditional IPO or further, you know, private fundraise, and sort of why you chose to head down the SPAC route?
Well, these options were indeed on the table. And when we looked at the development that we had ahead with 3 product launches, very clear, I would say, not time limit. I mean, this time between 22 and 25 is when we have to establish our brand. This is when the electric market is hot, where it's happening. And I think if you miss that window, then it's just simply, it's gone, that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So that is the one setting what our company is in. And the other thing is that we got to know Gores Gugghenheim and their confidence, experience, and what they could bring to the table. And one thing is clear, that support, joining us together and getting that acceleration through doing this SPAC together in a very, I would say now, you know, somebody who brings that expertise to the table just simply gave us confidence that this is not about doing a crazy high risk thing here, but actually something which is very purposeful and giving us acceleration and knowledge, which would be very, very cumbersome to do with the energy and the our company here. And traditional IPO definitely would just have taken that much longer, would have occupied that much more of us building expertise and headcount, where really we felt like the energy that we have to spend should be spent on other things right in time now. So this combination really made that SPAC route very, very meaningful and attractive for Polestar.
That makes sense. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you guys are in a unique position in the sense that your share price is actually trading at premium. So it looks like, fingers crossed, if all holds, that you'll actually be receiving the SPAC cash, where you know, most deals these days are not. So what's the use of proceeds for the infusion?
I see, for us, it's really about delivering on our promises. This is where I feel it's almost it's a very conservative way of looking at, you know, it's not about putting out now new and super exciting new promises and trying to heat it up. It's really about very, very steadily and clearly delivering on what what we said we're gonna do.
Mhm.
It's a big task ahead to do that. It's quite an ambitious business plan that we put out, and I think that is the best that we can do now in order to create value and really accelerate the valuation of the company, really delivering on these promises.
So let's hit on targets, since you mentioned targets. Polestar is targeting 65,000 EVs this year. How are you feeling about targets, and also amidst supply chain challenges and cost of materials, particularly in the battery space, going up? So just thoughts on how you're managing your supply chain and your comfort level with your projection.
Yeah, 65,000 is 2022's target, and I'm very pleased to have the markets and the response, and how Polestar, with the Polestar 2 out there, is received by the customers, and how they actually really making not only October, November, December a great finish of 22, but how actually in January we are as well feeling a very, very positive feedback from the market. So this is where I feel like, oh yeah, 2022, 65,000 cars. I feel confident about that. Having said that, you're totally right. Our daily business is, of course, to make sure that we have our production up and running, with supply chain uncertainties, which, of course, we have never, ever experienced to that extent. 2021 was difficult enough. And I think all the training and all the ways of how to react and how to get around certain problems, all that training we will need to, the skills that we learned 2021, we will have to use in 2022 heavily to really get through it. It means, of course, and that is what the group is helping with, that you actually have ways of being a bit flexible and having volume to react to certain shortages and buffer it out, and maybe if you do it over the weeks. And on the other hand as well, be much more clever and smart how you structure your offer, instead of having a very, very fixed, rigid systems with, I don't know, 250 options for the customer, to have bundled packages where you have a certain flexibility in how you can react and make these packages according to how the production of the car is actually going. So that helps us as well to be steady in the flow of cars out to the customers.
Yeah, and just touching on that, given the, I guess, the pressure on some of the raw materials associated with battery production, things like lithium and phosphate, and prices going up, and the dominance of China in that portion of the supply chain. How do you view, or how does Polestar view solid state batteries, alternative battery architectures? Because at the same time, it seems like companies like Tesla are really doubling down on lithium phosphate and trying to get better control of the supply chain there. So how does Polestar view those architectures?
It's actually amazing and exciting to see what is possible and happening in the battery market. And there, it's not that one technology where you say, okay, wow, this is now hot and the winner. It's actually amazing to see how a certain technology competition is creating innovation. And when I see where the technology that we are using at the moment, how there are development steps year after year, there I actually see that that race is not totally over, and solid state batteries are second half of this decade, yes, for the customer, more relevant than before. I think there it will still take a little time, a couple of years till the end customer that really will benefit from advantages of this technology. Till then, the advancement in lithium technology is really as well a great step forward year after year in what electric cars actually bring to the customer when it comes to range, when it comes as well to being able to achieve range with smaller sizes of batteries, which of course is really important for the efficiency of the cars. And we never locked us in. Even for the Polestar 2, we go through the effort of certifying not only one battery supplier, but two, in order to actually have a really lively competition when it comes not only to technology, but of course as well to prices, because rightfully you mentioned, obviously there's a high pressure on prices. On one hand, we want battery prices to go down. On the other hand, the raw materials are doing the opposite direction. So there you really need a very competitive situation amongst your suppliers in order to, make electric cars more affordable.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about Polestar and EVs and the market. Let's talk about something fun. What are you reading? Are you reading anything interesting? Give us a book recommendation. Or what's keeping you up at night? You know, what's on your mind? Just tell us something.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny that you said reading, because at the moment I'm consuming a lot of books, but I'm not reading them. I'm listening to them through podcasts. I really made my daily commute to work, which, believe it or not, is to keep me fit by bike. And in order to kind of make that even more meaningful journey, I listen to a lot of books. And at the moment, I'm just having a bit of a retro time and going through Nick Hornby's books again, which I all have either seen as movies already or read years before ago. But now I'm just enjoying going through all of his books again. It's really entertaining, and in a way as well balancing with all the news. I mean, obviously I'm following a lot what's happening here in Europe right at the moment, and you can imagine that is of course not so much of a entertaining but more of a serious topic to follow all of that.
And educationally listening to our podcast as well, so
that should probably come into my playlist. Yes.
How many miles is your bike ride? How many miles is your daily commute on bike?
Oh, miles, I don't know. It's 12 kilometers. How would that translate into how many miles? I don't know. It takes me 30 minutes, whatever. It is at the moment winter here in Gothenburg of a very unkind and unfriendly way. But it's nevertheless, it's really good when you arrive and you manage it and you're under the hot shower.
Well, yeah. Hey, Thomas, we're about to wrap up here. So again, just want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. Super interesting. Great company, great progress so far. We're excited to watch the progress. So any final words of wisdom to leave the listeners with?
Oh, well, to tell you the truth, I mean, this whole journey with Polestar, it's still something which, when I imagine how we started kind of like 5-6 years ago, was very, I would call it now basics idea about, how to grab that opportunity in time of founding a new company, a car company, when everybody around us, especially in Europe, would say, "Oh, forget about it. Who needs a new car company?" And to now see, actually, there are a lot of customers who agree and enjoy a new car company, Polestar. So it's really an amazing feeling to, in a way, live that dream.
That's great. And so again, thanks again. And we look forward to talking again soon.
Great. Thanks a lot for your time and the great talk we had. And bye to all your listeners. Thanks for listening in.
For sure.